Hello, can you hear me? Are you working now? Are you working now? Oh my gosh. Let's see. Why is that coming up? Properties. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the mic's working. I must have pushed the button. The button was blinking. And I can never remember if blinking means it's on or off, but a solid light. I'm using a Blue Yeti. Let me show you. That light was blinking. And I guess that meant it's not working, but it's working now, so we're good. Okay. Heads up, my dog is in a very like looking for food kind of mood, and she isn't in here with me, which means there's the possibility that I'm gonna have to go find her and tell her to stop doing whatever she's doing. So if that happens, sorry about that. And okay. I don't like how this is being blocked right here. I don't like that. But it is what it is. So we're just gonna go with it. I think you'll see, I can get you to see most of the important information. Hi everybody, how's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing good. I am a little bit cold. I'm gonna turn on my heat lamp. And hopefully that'll improve things for me. And it's pretty cold today, but it's sunny, which the two usually go together. Usually if it's sunny in Seattle, it's also cold, at least in the winter. That isn't such the pattern in the summer. Sorry, I'm like, I'm trying to multitask here and I'm getting lost in like, what did I already say? Is the pattern in winter but not summer? Did I say that? I don't know. Okay, so these are the paints I have that are Sennelier. I'm going to be swatching them according to this criteria today, and these are the things that I want to know. If you were here for a previous live stream, this is my color swatching index, and I've already done my schminke. There are far fewer schminkas to swatch because it's a very new brand to me and I don't have that many of them. I've been using Sennelier for much longer, and so I have many more paints, so it's going to take a little bit longer to swatch. In fact, when I did the original swatching, I only had those colors, and then these ones I ended up buying later to supplement. Oops, sorry. Didn't realize you were out of frame. I only had those colors when I did the first live stream, and then I ended up buying 3 more to supplement. So, and then the live stream before that, we worked on these 2 color wheels, or the last 2 live streams. We did this one, then we did that one. And this is with schminke paints, and then I'll probably end up doing a color wheel with these ones that I have as well. And this is a much more like accurate in this stuff here. Normally I would have more pigments. You don't need them. You don't need that many pigments when you are starting out. So like, for example, if you were new to watercolor and you were like, what should I buy? I don't have a magenta here, but basically all you need is magenta, lemon yellow, and do I have it? I think it's phthalo blue green. And this is phthalo blue, I think. It's probably phthalo blue red. It's probably, let me see if I can show you. It's probably phthalo blue red leaning. So I don't have that, but I have that basic set in Daniel Smith because that's what I originally learned on. So you don't need all these colors to make lots of colors, but there's benefits to having lots of colors that I'll talk about a little bit while we're swatching. A piece of fuzz. Now, one of the things that I was like assessing was, do I want to use this particular sketchbook for my sketches? And I don't think so. I don't think I'd like it because I don't think I was really water heavy, but this is really warped. The paper isn't holding the amount of water I use very well. And so like I don't even want to use this page to do swatching on because it's already warped, but we will because it's not like a finished painting and it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's see if there's a way. I would like to have this over here. Let's line up these paints on the side. I wanted to make it look cool and pretty for you, but it's not very practical. And then I want to assess and make sure that I have them in the order that I want them in, because that'll make it easier for me to, when I'm looking back at my index, to like know what colors I have. If it's in the color order, I'll be like, okay, I'm looking for a yellow. I have literally put I put my phone on silent, but then I let any family members be able to come through, and I put my phone on do not disturb, but family members came through and I just got a text from a family member. So, okay. See, I don't know where to put this red because there's no other. I guess I could put this in the browns if we added sepia in here. That looks good. That'll give me a sense of like what colors I have. And I actually have white in Sennelier, which is great because I have been playing around with white a little bit more in my watercolor paintings. I just always added more water, but there's a different kind of quality that adding white does. So I've been playing with that more. And then did I actually get black? I don't, yeah, I just bought a black. Same person texting, I'm so sorry. Lamp black. So I do have black. We'll swatch the more neutral colors later. I'm gonna put those out of frame and we're gonna start with the colorful colors, the rainbow colors to start with. And do I have them in the order that I want them in? Let's double check. Which green do I want? Yeah. So when you're dealing with colors, sometimes what you're dealing with isn't a hue difference. It's a difference in saturation. So these are both green, right? But the saturation of this one is much more pure and this one's much more like muddy. It's probably mixed with a bit of a color like this or this. Same with this one. It's a little less pure. Actually, no. The packaging looks like it's a little bit of a warmer purple, but it's not actually. It's very cool. It's a very purpley purple. Once it's out of the tube, you'll see. Okay. So do we have space for my, yep, we got it. And we'll just move those since we're not using them. Move them a little bit. Okay. So the criteria that I'm going over is the same one we did last time, and that's the things that are important to me. Everybody has different things that matter to them when they're painting. I really like painting in layers and doing a lot of lifting, especially in the beginning. And so if something's really staining, I want to know that. And I don't always remember when I start painting. I'll be like, oh, that color's not coming up. So it's good to have that information there when I'm making decisions. The texts are just going to keep coming through. And this family member knows I'm streaming right now, but oh well. Oh gosh, what if they're asking something about it? Okay, sorry. I don't know why they would. Nope. Oh, they said something nice though. Okay. It'll probably beep again because I have it set up so that if I don't answer the text immediately, it'll make another noise. That's good when you have ADHD to like, maybe you'll forget. Or if you have like memory issues like I do, it might be nice to be like, okay, Oh, I totally forgot about that. Okay, let me answer that text. Okay, so I was like, why did I write Sennelier here? And then I remembered that I just used it as an example. So an example of a brand is Sennelier. An example of a color is quinacridone red, which I actually have. So I used this as my sample sheet. I use this brand as my sample sheet. Okay, so the things that matter to me, pigment number's interesting, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. It doesn't affect anything. The interesting thing about it is that you could have a PR 209 and that's the pigment number and you think that that's the pigment that you're getting, but in reality, you might be getting the same number might make a different color, and I haven't looked up which ones do that yet. Oh, my hands are really cold. And I'm going to be getting them wet with water soon. So I also care about light fastness. I have yet to sell an original painting, but you know, it'd be good to have the option. And light fastness doesn't matter if you're doing prints, because prints, you just need the ink color of the print you're doing to be light fast. You don't need the actual painting itself to be light fast. So that matters to me. We've already talked about staining. That's important to me. And I want also the transparency matters to me because I work on a lot of layers. I want to know if the layer that I'm putting on is going to just be like completely opaque. It's also hard to paint a transparent layer on top of an opaque layer sometimes because the granules in the opaque pigments tend to be bigger, and the granules in at least the non-staining, I don't know about transparency, that might not be true, but they may have different sizes. And so putting different transparencies or staining on top of each other can result in maybe the top layer kind of coming off. Granulation is really important to me because when I'm doing portraits, I don't want a granulating pigment, and most browns I found are. This information you can look if you want. It's about how I really need to get to the art supply store and buy some new pens because all of my pens are kind of out of ink, and I didn't really want to do this in brown. I'd rather do it in black, but I need something light fast. Let's just test. Do I have my testing paper with me? Let's test this and see if it's even working. Yeah, okay, it works. Works well enough. So, okay, so yeah, I did put the date to, it's the 11th, right? 25. And we are testing Sennelier and cat hair. There's lots of cat hair on this. Oh, this is driving me nuts. This pen is so dry. Checking how I did it last time, because I'd like some consistency. And I wrote the pigment number first. Okay, so the pigment number, let's remove the cat hair. I just noticed the cat's position. She's cleaning. She's taking a bath over there. The pigment number is PR209. PR209. Let me see if I can get it where you can see it. Might be easier to do it on this camera. Nope. I won't do this on all of them. I'm just going to do it on this first one so that you can get a sense of where you can find the information. I don't know how clear that is to you. I feel like it's focusing on the paper and not. I would totally, if I was editing a video, I'd cut this out because It just takes so long to focus sometimes. But this is live, so we're just... Okay. It also says the series number, the transparency. I don't know how well you can see that. I don't think you can see it at all, but I did my best. It's light fastness 2, so they have a different way of rating. They don't have the stars. So we're gonna put down the name of the color, then the light fastness. And the name of the color is quinacridone red. And we have a square, which means very transparent, and we're gonna put number 2, and hopefully I'll just remember that means light fastness. And we can add in a note here. About transparency. Oops. Light fastness. Put it in the wrong place. Oh well. Is there anything else I would like to know? Non-granulating. I mean, I don't think we're gonna know, but I would say this isn't from my memory of it. And I'm gonna flip this over so that if there's any paint on this thing on the bottom, it'll go on the paper. So we're not gonna, I already have these put in a pan. The only thing we're gonna do is we're gonna clean it first. So before I end up swatching it, I'd like to make sure that the paint that's in here is clean. There are a few colors that aren't on here, and I will end up cleaning one of these pans and then putting it on there. I think we're pretty good on the color. Yay! Finally getting to the painting part. I really like these paints. At first I didn't like them because I thought they smelled like chemicals, but I think I was literally smelling honey. I don't know what I was thinking. This swatch will look better when I get further into this book because the page is so tilted this way that it's hard to get the color to run that way. Once I'm like halfway through the book. I think it'll move without me holding it down. I would say not granulating. We'll have to wait till it dries, but not really granulating. So I don't know if there's anybody on. Like, I don't know if anybody's here. I can check. But I would like to know, like, is this fun for people? It says one person's here. If you're still here, hi. Thank you for being here. I'd say this is very soothing for me. When I asked you if this is fun for you, like, I find this very soothing. It's very relaxing, and it's very, just a really chill thing to do. And normally I would do it without talking. I would just look at my colors. Burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is one of my favorites. I think that's also why I really like this brand, is I just have most of my favorite colors in the collection. Whereas a lot of times, like if you buy like a set or something, it might not have your favorite colors. It says a series on here, but I don't bother putting that because I don't really care. It cost what it cost. I paid the money. It's done. I'm going to use it regardless of how much it cost me. Oh, I see. They put the T for transparent, and I did not write that down last time. Okay. So we'll put a little tiny T. Where's the light from this? Oh, okay. Where'd it go? Where's Burnt Sienna? Oh, I dropped it next to. I dropped it so perfectly in line with those other paints that I was like, it has disappeared. Light fastness 1. So I wonder if in their case 1 is better than 2, because I wrote it on this list backwards then. So I wrote it could be 1 or 2, and I've written light fast, not as light fast. Oh, okay. No, I wrote it correctly. For my notes, so that I know what my notes mean in the future. Is this... I have 2 colors that look so much alike right here. I have 3 colors that look alike. I'm going to guess it's these 3 colors, but since I'm not sure which one's which, we're going to clean. I wish I had my spray bottle with me. Where did my paintbrush go? Voila. I'm going to get some paper towels. It'll work better than this rag here. A paper towel will work faster. I used to never, ever, ever use paper towels because I felt that they were bad for the environment. I still think that. But once I realized how serious ADHD and autism can be for a person's mental health, I started looking for ways to improve my mental health and to give myself supports, because there's not really ever support for people who are, I mean, we can call me low support needs, but actually I have a lot of support needs, but I'm never going to get the support. So, because I can function. Now, what does functioning do to my mental health? Not great things. So I do everything I can to support myself and my family, given that there's only our own support available. And paper towels is one of them. And I would prefer to not be using them, but it helps me a lot to just have a mess I can clean up and throw away and not have to go wash the thing. And that feels really selfish, but I sometimes really need to, sometimes you need to, that was something I had to learn. Sometimes you got to be selfish. Sometimes you got to just do there's a little green left on this. Sometimes you just got to do the selfish thing in order to protect your mental health. And this is hard to open. It's got, just so you know, it's got kind of a spiky grip. And I have found these to be consistently difficult to open because of that. Just for me, like other people might find it easier, but I have some residual numbness left in my hands from, I think, eating gluten. I'm not really sure, but oh, okay. Do you see like all that all of that binder came out? And that is one of the things I don't like about this paint. The binder's always, you always have to remix it in. And then I think it's like out of proportion. I want to use up most of this because I'm just going to clean it off again. And yeah, no granulation there. Do I need to write down that there's no granulation? I don't think so. I think I can just leave it as is and I will notice the lack of granulation when I'm looking at my swatch. I'll know. Let's flatten that out so that we don't have a... I put way too much water. Let's suck that up. I was saying I've got some residual numbness in my hands from a time where my arms and legs went numb for about, I don't know, 2 years. I increased my calcium and that seemed to help. I have weird stuff like that happen all the time where something on me will be functioning great and then just stop functioning. I used to have bunions and I switched my shoes up and I don't have them anymore. That's an example. I'm going to flatten this one out so I can read the back. And it's in a new place. It's more in the middle, where it's on this one is more at the top. And then, oh, this has so many pigments. So this is quinacridone gold. I didn't need to buy this one. Like, it's so similar to the other one, and I don't tend to like multi-pigments. Because, I don't know, they just lead to less predictable mixing. This is a convenience color, which would be fine if I actually needed it. I bought it at a time where I had different things I cared about than I do now. So, I mean, some of the things are the same. Like, no, I know a lot more about what I want now. Okay, PR 101. Yeah, so anyways, my hands went numb. And because of that, opening tight things or like delicate things makes my fingers feel numb again. It makes them feel weird. I don't like how it feels. It feels dangerous. It feels like I'm damaging the ends of my nerves. And so even though I physically can do it, it feels weird. So I often will get other people to do it if I can. We have lots of big, strong dudes in my home and in my family, so I can almost always find somebody to open it. A live stream is not that moment, though. Quinacridone gold. Oh my gosh, this is so tiny. This one's transparent as well. And where is the light fastness? Oh my gosh, what does that even say? Okay, I've got my magnifying glass here. It's out of frame for you, but it says NR. Light fastness NR? What does that mean? We'll put NR, whatever that means. This one's also difficult to open. So you can see right here that the pigment's kind of separating, and it's odd because I feel like this looks like a mixed pigment. There are some lighter oranges and darker browns in this. I'm going to guess this is going to be granulating, but I find it odd that it's only one pigment. And when we put it down, it looks like there are multiple pigments in this color. That's, to me, a little odd. Oh, that's so much binder coming out. I find that not all of the paints are like that. Most of the paints that I have from Sennelier, I actually bought at the end of lockdown. And I wonder if they'd just been sitting in the store for a really long time. Like if products weren't moving from the actual store, maybe products were moving from the website. And I wonder if just having sat for so long, this is so, like, I feel like I'm just painting with honey. I don't even know if this is going to be an accurate swatch. No, there's just binder. That is just binder. Let's see if we can find some color. That That's more binder. I put some of the binder back in, and like I took all of the ones that I bought. They were the first thing I bought after lockdown. So like as soon as things opened up, I took me and my new mask to Blick, and I bought paints that were good for layering, because that's what I had learned recently. I had learned in a watercolor class that some I don't think any amount of shaking this is going to make the binder not come out. I learned that some watercolor brands are better for layering than others, and that Sennelier was one of the ones that's really great for layering. That is just so much binder. What a waste. That's so heartbreaking. Like, it feels like it's just honey, which I actually think is super cool. But, well, I did my best. I mean, I did my best to get a good swatch. I don't know if it's representative of what the color actually looks like, but did I finish my sentence? Probably. My guess is that it's sitting on the shelves just maybe made things separate over time. Any of the Sennelier paints I've bought since then have less of the binder issue. There's more binder coming out, but I wouldn't say that it's just not an issue for this brand or this size or this year that they made it. I don't know if it's like always like that. Oh, I didn't write down the info. But I still love them for whatever reason, despite that irritation. Why do we love what we love? I don't know. Indian Yellow. This is kind of a sus name. I'm like not sure if I'm okay with that. I don't know why. I don't know like the history of why it's called this. I don't know who people who are consider themselves Indians mind the name. Native Americans mind the name. People from India mind the name. I don't know. But that's what it's called. And, you know, in French, it's like absolutely different. It's gomme goutte. Right? It's French at the top. I think Spanish is at the bottom, French is at the top, and I would guess that the fourth one, because there's 4 different labels here, I would guess the fourth one is maybe German. So, I don't know what gomme, gut. That sounds so Dutch or German. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it terribly. This one has 2 pigments, PY154, PY153. And its light fastness is 2, and we've got T light fastness is 2. And I don't know how good or bad 2 is compared to 1. Okay, now the fun part. Fun for me. Maybe sitting here listening to me read the names is fascinating to you. I'm wondering what... Oh, it's the red one. I was like, there's 3 in a row that are exactly the same. They're not. I think it's probably Caput Mortem, which is only in 1 language. It doesn't have all 4 languages. But yeah, I think that one's right there. I decided to put them next to each other for whatever reason. When I made this palette, maybe 2 years ago. Too much water. Lemon yellow. I'm trying to write smaller because I want to fit more on the page, but it is difficult. They all have the same transparency. I didn't realize that. And a lot of them are light fastness too, so I really hope that that's a good, I don't know, I hope that's at least 100 years. One thing that I think is really interesting, actually that's not what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you that lemon yellow, this color, this is the color you would use in mixing when you want to make green or orange. It's good for mixing with other things. And I'm really struggling to get it open. Oh, it broke. What? Do you guys see that? Okay. I didn't know that was possible. I have it on the pan, and I might just do that, and then, oh, there we go. Nope. No, I just succeeded in breaking it off. What am I gonna do? I guess I could put it in a plastic bag or something. A lot of maybe it'll glue itself back on. It just dropped on my pen. And the table. Okay. Completely lost my train of thought there. Yeah, there's a lot of the binder came out with that one. And I'm gonna guess this is one of the older paints because the cap is glued on. It's not my favorite yellow. I prefer my yellow to be more orange, like this one. And it's a great mixing color though. You'll get very clear, clean mixes if you use this one versus that one. But I actually prefer like a more muddy, painting. Kind of like, where are we? Here. Do you see like this rainbow that I've created on the border here of this flat lay? Where is it? I'm getting so confused. Yeah, like I just like it more muted. Emerald green, Veronis. Emerald green. PG 36. Every single one is this. Maybe that's just like every single one is empty square T. What are the chances of that being like accurate? I don't know. I feel so wasteful cleaning this off. It makes me sad, especially when there's so much binder in it. Look at all this honey. The bees worked hard. They worked hard to make this, and we're throwing it away. Can you tell I was raised Catholic? My guilt. We don't need it to be quite as like clean, 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 because the next pigments aren't as easily thrown off as yellow is. Yellow, you really need to make sure your palette's clean before you swatch it, or you're going to get very inaccurate results. But any other color, except maybe white, which I guess I could swatch it on white paper. I'm not sure what the point would be. I guess we could draw a line on the paper and then... I don't have much white, so I don't really bother. I'm gonna clean my fingers a little bit. I'm afraid of getting contaminating things. Also, I don't like things on my hands. Anybody else out there like that? I'm really anti anything sticky or dirty on my hands. I'm very intolerant. Okay, another one that's hard to get off. I didn't realize that I'd be showing my lack of muscle so much. More binder. That's all binder. More binder. No, please don't do that. You need your binder. Stop throwing up only binder. Oh my gosh. That's so bad. Did you see? All that binder came out. All of it. That is so distressing to me. Let's mix it up. And then we're going to just leave the swatch. And maybe, I think it's obviously this color. We'll just dump it in there. We are not going to throw away all that binder. That is just too much. I hope that I cleaned my brush well before I did this so that we're getting a very pure, so that that stays a pure color, not because I think I'm messing it up for this, but just, I also hope there's like no bacteria or anything in this brush that'll get in here. Okay, so that is a super thick color, not particularly saturated. We can add a little water, but it's just, it's very honey right now. Primarily honey. Even painting with it is like, it's like sticky. Not sticky, it's like getting stuck. And now I can smell it. I'm smelling it the way I did before. So I know it's the honey I'm smelling. I think it's so odd that I am finding it to be a chemical smell. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's my brain making weird assumptions. I don't know if that's that there's something else mixed in with the honey, but that's usually when I notice the smell, is when the binder is separating. That is so frustrating. I'm gonna clean up at least half of this because I want to two other colors than just green. And I'd like the greens to be next to each other, even though I said I'd clean out a different one. We can clean out the one next to it too. That's going to be difficult though, because it's a very dark color. Wow, that didn't clean up. Let's try that again. Nope. One of the things that I forget when I'm swatching is like or prior to like swatching anything is, oops, do I have anything to do the swatches into? Because you have to have a clean tray or palette of some sort to put your paints into. And a lot of times mine are already being used with other paints. I don't have an infinite amount of palettes. The palettes that I have right now, they're like ceramic. I think one has gouache in it and the other one has core watercolors. And I wouldn't mind getting some more ceramic palettes. They're kind of big to store though. Is that clean enough? I hope so. Okay, clean my brush really well. Next, we're on to the Crumbling. They've shortened it. Chrome Oxide Green. We'll shorten it too. Why not? I accidentally wrote a Q for an O. The X confused me. Oh, we've got a different one. It is a filled in square, which is really hard to do when your pen's running out of ink. And I forgot to write. I got so excited about that I forgot to write the number. PG17. Going to write everything in one line, which actually would save up a lot of space. I wish I had done that for the first bunch, although I guess it's good to have lots of space to really see the color. I don't know. Just depends how your brain processes that information. Might be better to have them smaller and all on one page. Oh man, I'm seeing so much of the binder come out. And I had mixed it back in. Okay, we're not even gonna bother putting that on the... Look at all that binder. Look at that. Can you see that? That's even changing the color of the paint. Maybe it dries not yellow, but that's so disappointing. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm gonna mix it. We'll mix in a little bit of it. And we're gonna put it on the paper without me mixing it, because then otherwise we get it all just binder. This even feels pretty binder heavy and I barely mixed it in. But it's certainly not as bad as that situation. Okay, let's hold that down while I mix. Wow, that's so much freaking paint. What? Wow, and it's like separated inside. I would say this makes me really feel like I'm using something someone made, which is kind of a cool feeling. I know it was made in a factory, but having, wow, that's so much paint. Oh my gosh. Look, do you guys see how this thing was half full and it's nearly full to the top now? How sad if I had thrown it away. And I'm really smelling the smell too. Okay, you know, I just can't decide if I'm smelling food or chemicals. It's a little bit, it's like a sweet chemical-y smell. I don't think I'd want to eat it. Okay, now I'd like to wait for this to dry before I put this on top of it. What can we do so that you can see everything? Oh no. Did paint get in? is green inside of the film. Huh. I didn't know that could happen once you've already like soaked. You always want to soak your brushes in water ahead of time so that that doesn't happen, which I did. I don't know why so much. I think I'm getting it out though. Well, we might get some green in our other swatches. That will be annoying, but I've done my best to clean it out. So this is the only opaque paint we have on this whole collection, and I'm actually just interested. Yeah, that's really only one pigment. I feel like that's so deep and dark that I would have expected it to be 2 pigments, not just one. This is one of the colors I love working with. I don't like using it in huge amounts, but I love adding a little bit of turquoise in the highlights. And that might be unconventional. It's turquoise green. When I was making my color wheels, hold on, can't multitask, PG 50. Ooh, another opaque one. And it says O. Are they just being redundant? Yeah, they're being redundant. And they're not telling us. Yeah, that's what they're not telling us. They're not telling us if it's staining. Maybe for them, the square might be staining, whereas for what was the other brand that we did? Schminka, that might be, that symbol might mean staining. Or, sorry, the triangle means staining. For them, maybe this is, that's my guess. So these are all non-staining, I would think, if that's correct, and I'd have to look it up. These are all non-staining, and this one's staining. I don't know. They've done it kind of weird. Or not weird, but like, I don't really understand what's happening here. We're gonna twist things a little bit so that you can still see what I'm doing. Yay, easy to open, didn't break. Not anything but pigment coming out. I mean, there's probably binder in there, but it's mixed correctly. I'm gonna make sure that my brush is very clean. I might have to get new water. My clean water is looking less clean. Does that look opaque? Yeah, definitely. That green is staying on this palette until I use it. I'm gonna just clean up right here instead. Having like a dirty palette sometimes nice if you want those muddy, more natural looking colors. Of course, there's plenty of things in nature that are not muddy. I'm gonna go change the water before I do any more, because I'm about halfway through.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life Life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. 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 I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way.
Hi, I'm back. Here's the clean water now. I also checked on my dog to see if she was up to anything, and she wasn't. She was asleep. The way you expect dogs to be, like, most of the time, unless you're doing something fun. I'm gonna throw this away. Okay. And I also wash my hands so that I can make sure that I'm not getting paint, or the wrong paint in my swatch. And we are on to Cerulean Blue. I haven't used this one a lot, and I'm not sure I have it on the palette. In fact, I don't. I know I don't. Okay. I can't write at that angle. I'm gonna write out the names of the next three because it is going to be very awkward doing it on this side, which I didn't think about while I was planning today's live stream. Live and learn, experience and learn. Cerulean Blue. Maybe it's pronounced cerulean. It's PB28. So far, most of the paints that I've done, they're all single pigments, which probably was on purpose. This isn't, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's all. Forgot to write the transparency or the light fastness on this one. And R, whatever that means. Not recorded. Okay, so finish that one. And then we did, oh, what's the name of it? I don't even know how to say this, but it's the Phalocysine Blue. I think most people just say phthalo. Took me forever to learn how to spell it. Sounds like dangerous. Oh, I'm doing it too close together. Oops. I'm not going to be able to see the separation. PB153. This is one where you'll see like phthalo blue red and phthalo blue green. Both are called 15.3, but like they are very different. Like one's bluish and one's greenish. So it's made of the same chemical, but definitely there are some differences. I don't know how they did that. French ultramarine blue. Yay, something I can pronounce. And let's give it a little more space. So I feel like people aren't really available at this time of day. Oh, this one's at two pigments. So it's PB29 and PV15. It's not always the case, I think, for French ultramarine can be often multi-pigments. Okay, that message. Oh, I only put my phone on silent for like an hour. And I'm just so popular with other people during this time. It makes sense. It's like work time. Anyways, I'm noticing like there's a lot less people coming to the live stream now that it's at 12 o'clock instead of afternoon. That's really disappointing because it's so fun when people are in the chat talking. But it really doesn't work for me I don't want to put this on the paper because I'm afraid it'll make the paper dirty because sometimes paint can leak through these cracks here. I changed the time because, what was my main reason? Yay, it opened easily. Oh, we're going to get binder. There's less people here right now. And the fewer people there are, the more likely it is that I can tell people to be quiet and they'll remember. So, a lot of times there's a lot of people here in the evenings. And that is problematic for doing live streams. And I'd rather not tell people, hey, be quiet. I'm doing something here. I'd rather they feel free to be themselves and create as much chaos as they want. So I stopped doing it in the evening, not because of that necessarily, but that was one of the benefits in my mind. And but nobody is in the chat at all. It seems like Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning is literally one of the best times for me to do this, and it may be very much the absolute worst time for everybody else. So if you're actually watching this, obviously it would be at a later date because I don't think anybody's in the chat. But like when are you available? Not that I'll necessarily be able to change it, but it might be good to know. Oh, you're not getting to see me do this. There's quite a bit of binder in it, but not as much, and so it's behaving it's not behaving as thick as this one, but close. I think doing live streams in the evening is better for most people. And I knew that going into this, I knew that, but I was hoping that I was wrong because evenings aren't great for me. I prefer to do my work in the mornings and have my evenings for family. I think most people feel that way. Well, I guess I didn't feel that way when I was homeschooling because I wanted to make sure I was doing homeschooling stuff, which I actually homeschooled in a rather unusual way. We did child-led learning, and so what that meant is that the kids picked their subjects and they picked how they learned them. And some people would call that unschooling, but we did so many classes and so many field trips, and we arranged so much for them that it wasn't really entirely unschooling. Just, I would say more the classes. And then there were certain expectations that I put on them. So my partner would always do math with them. And I would almost always have them they didn't do great with anything I led, but they did really well with things that they could be autonomous about. So even if I told them, hey, you're going to do gosh, we used a lot of like online programs. I'm trying to remember the ones that they were. Oh my gosh, how can I not remember the names of them? I don't even know if they're still around, because my kids are an adult and a child, almost an adult. Both of them are almost adult. One is an adult, one is almost an adult. And oh my gosh, I'm forgetting. Anyways, they both had an online program that they liked a lot. One of them, they did the same one. One of them was more into one than the other, but they both basically did the same. And I would just have expectations that you're going to do a certain amount of this. And a lot of people think, I'm making a lot of noise. A lot of people think unschooling's like really dangerous, but I would say that most children want to learn, and most children in my family, how we did it is electronics weren't available during the day. They were rewards and something you did in the evening, usually with family. And they figured out how to sneak electronics sometimes, but for the most part, like, it wasn't available to them. And so they would pick up a book, or they'd be like, okay, I'm going to go online and do this online program that's going to teach me about grammar or the Civil War or something. They would opt for that rather than not doing anything at all on the computer. Or they'd pull out books, especially my older son. He really loved books. And my younger son preferred media that was more auditory. So he liked like books on tape or podcasts. I don't know how many podcasts there really were when my older son was homeschooling. Ultramarine blue. Yeah, so anyways, mornings would not have been, I guess I could have been like, hey kids, you're gonna go do whatever your preferred activity is for 2 hours while mom does a live stream. Maybe I could have done that. But chances are I was driving them somewhere in the morning or grocery shopping. Hi, Sneha. Popping in to say hey. Thank you. How are you, Sneha? How's your day going today? Have you made any art lately, Sneha? No pressure. I haven't. This is the first time I'm playing with my paints in a really long time. I've actually been trying to figure out how to use AI to create a good thumbnail to show you guys what I plan to paint, or like to create thumbnails of something I would paint. But so far, what's in my imagination and what I'm able to create with AI don't look anything the same. So like, basically, okay, we'll use this as an example. Let's say I was like, I want to paint a dinosaur that has feathers. Well, we don't really have there aren't reference photos of this. I mean, James Gurney has probably done more than one, but they would only be pulling from that one source, and that would be like plagiarism in my opinion, whereas pulling from a lot of sources is okay. So like if I wanted to paint something like that, and I type that in, it's not going to give me something this beautiful. It's going to give me something really awkward and weird. And I thought that the AI was improved enough that I could use it as reference photos. But I think what I'm going to end up having to do is like maybe show in the thumbnail, like when I start painting, because right now we're just doing this because I'm getting used to painting at the same time as talking to people. But one day I would like to be doing painting live streams, and I would like to have a reference image in the thing. I don't personally have time to paint something twice. That is what my partner suggested. He said, just paint it twice. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. I just don't have time. I have way, way, way too many doctor's appointments for that to be feasible. Okay, we are done with these colors. And now we're on to, how can I put everything? Oh, duh. Movie magic. I'm trying to pull them over in color order, and it's not happening. We're gonna have to reorder them. I didn't have enough space on my desk to move them over successfully, so we'll just line them up. I don't know. You know, we theoretically could fit them all, but it would be so awkward to have these big ones here and then teeny tiny over here. That's fine. It'll still give us the information we need. So we just finished our blue, right? There's no other blues. We're on to purple now. Just double checking. Oh, I missed a purple. Okay. There we go. Now I know how to do it on both sides, which I probably already knew to do this, and I just forgot. And then I'll bring this. I'll just bring it right now to show you. Okay, so we're on to purples. Do I want to do these like these bluish type colors? Nah, we'll just do purple. And then we'll move into Kaput Mortem, which is a neutral that leans red. I guess it's brown. So then we'll put sepia next to it, and we'll put grease, warm gray, and we'll put it next to cool gray, and then that'll be more into these, and we'll do white last. Is it possible to fit these? No, probably not. That would be really nice though. I'm debating whether or not to try to make it fit. How realistic is that? No, it's not realistic. Let's go for putting 5 on, and then we'll do these 5 on the other page. Oh, it'd be so nice to have these next to each other though. I think we're gonna just end here, and then we'll switch pages, because I do want all of these neutrals next to each other. Kaput Mortem. You can be with the neutrals instead of the purples. Well, that's a waste of paper. I guess we'll add a little color wheel down here later. So, dioxazine. So although I do like doing these live streams in the morning, it's defeating the purpose of like doing it with company if nobody's there. And maybe what I'm doing is just boring to people. I don't know. Maybe I'm boring. But I would like to think that it's not me, and maybe it's not the subject matter. Maybe it's availability. That's what I would like. Oh, you know, more ink's coming out of this, and it's actually working. Okay, so we finally have a little bit different here. We have half staining is probably it, and then opaque. I have always found this to be crazy staining, but maybe I'm thinking of it in a different brand. And it's number 3, which means it's not light fast, really? Huh. I didn't know that. And it opened easily. And lots of binder. Let's see if... I don't want to tap it on the table. That would be irritating for you all. I just got a message. Like, be careful of your privacy. You know, nobody's writing in the chat, so why are we so worried? Why do we need to worry about privacy when it's empty and all the person's doing is saying hi? So, you know, doing these like AI stuff, trying to figure out, for me, it's all about like making a workflow that makes sense. I want to make my own art, definitely, and I don't want to steal from other people in any way. And I know some people feel like AI art does that, but I do think that like it's artists using AI art is the way to like minimize the negative impact of AI on artists. It's like artists finding ways to use it to their advantage. And for me, it could be a huge time saver to be able to make a thumbnail that is actually close to what I'm going to paint. So I have an idea and I don't want to say what it is. And I don't think it's been done before. Just because AI did such a terrible job of like creating it. But it's a painting that I want to make. And I used the same prompt for a couple different engines. I have something in my mouth. I didn't want to touch my lips because I didn't want to put paint. I didn't want to eat paint. Blue violet. Oh, G. What does G mean? This one's very light fast. So if I'm going to be painting something, dioxazine purple isn't the way to go. Oh, look at that. I haven't used this one at all yet. So this is years after the lockdown. I think it's just their paint. That's just how these go. Oh, that wasn't so bad. I mean, some of the binder came out, but not tremendously. So this is a new color that I got. And I got it because I got more convenience colors because I tend to, if I'm mixing color, I might accidentally not remember to paint the colors I like, and I'll paint the colors that I have or paint the colors of my reference image. Oh, that's the other thing I like about AI is that it can help me. So let's say I want to do a painting of a princess in the style of Rainbow Bright or something, right? Like the color scheme of Rainbow Bright. You could theoretically tell AI to make something like that. Or you could take a picture and... I mean, you could just do that. You could just take like Pexels. I use Pexels for reference images a lot. I could just take a Pexels photo and then change the... I could desaturate it and then maybe change it a little bit so that while I'm painting it, I don't just do copy and paste, because I can get in the zone and like not notice that I'm not using my favorite colors. But I could think of ways around it. Okay. Can I get these yellow here? I feel like I could. I'm so glad I did this because I didn't realize how weak dioxazine purple is, and I don't know what 3 is. It still might be very good because I don't know what their rating scale is, but I don't like that. I don't like that I feel like that's a pretty clean sample. I feel like we can just, instead of pulling it out, we can just use that one. Let's see how small we can make it. Let's see what we can fit on this page. I've decided to do it all on one page. Caput mortem. The first time I saw this pigment was in a pencil. I think Faber-Castell pencils. That's one of their colors. And it really made me laugh. Could put more time. It does look kind of like blood. I mean, they're not wrong. PR 101. I think that this one is staining and opaque. Maybe in their brand, staining and opacity just always happen at the same time. Oh, I'm not gonna. Oh, I should have wet it while I was writing it. Well, we'll wet it and we'll clean it just a little bit. Did I finish my sentence? Did I say if I'm making a painting dioxazine purple, I'd be much less likely to use it, especially because I would normally use it to make brown or like a deep purpley brown. Warm sepia. This one's actually 2 pigments. Oh, wait, what's the light stain? Light fastness? This one, light fastness is 1. So maybe this will be how I make my getting it a little bit wet again to make sure that it's going to be thick enough. PBR7, PBK7. So this is another 2 pigment, and I think that's great that I only really have 2 here. And I'm almost out of it, so I've used a lot of it. I'm going to need to go get more of it. And I'm not really sure why I've used so much of it, because I'm kind of not into these like the granulating. I think I usually use these to do, there should be no separation. Oh my gosh, there is, even though I've used this so much. Come on, Sennelier. There's got to be some way to like prevent that. I don't know what it would be though. I think it's their formula. Although there's another one, Graham. Oh, I haven't used them. Graham. Graham. I know I tried using their gouache, and that was weird because they were moldy. And I'm allergic to mold, so that was a problem. If you're not, I don't see any reason to not use their product. But M. Graham paints. They have honey. And I didn't notice a lot of separation, but that was in their gouache. So maybe in their watercolor there's a lot of separation. I'm going to guess it's just certain formulas are harder to keep it all together. Okay, let's mix up the binder here. Oh no, we've mixed. It's going down at an angle. I really need to, here, if I straighten this out. Okay. I didn't really mean to mix those two. That is not what we're doing here today. We are not making a color wheel. These grays are part of the reason this is one of my favorite paints. I really like these 2 colors, and I don't know if they're available in other brands, and I just haven't checked them out. Warm gray. But they feel very French to me. But they're also very desaturated, which is kind of something I like doing. Oh my gosh, this is 4 different pigments. And I use it all the time. I use it more than Cool Gray, which has how many pigments? 3. very much convenience colors. PW6, PY42, PBK11, PR101, and then I guess we have, we're gonna write this at the next to the name this time because I'm trying to keep all of the colors on one page if possible. It'll just be easier when choosing colors. Even if it's less attractive, I'd rather be doing that. It'll just make it so much easier for me later. Sennelier Gray. And it's gray with an E, even though it's in English. I think in English we usually do, well, oh, it's probably British English. That makes sense. In American English, we spell gray with an A. I don't know how to spell anything, but I do know that. And we're gonna just keep with the writing the opacity next to the name, for the sake of saving space and keeping all the colors on one page. There's a 1 next to this. I don't know why. I don't know what that means. PW6, PBK9, PG17. And then we're going to fit 4 more here. I think that's asking a lot. We'll see. And I can't tell if this swatch here is dirty or if it's just got 4 colors in it, and so it's going to separate in the pan. Does anybody out there use the curly girl method? Changing the topic. 100%. I think I've always had wavy hair, but when I was a kid, they called it body. I would go to the hairdresser and they'd be like, your hair has a lot of body. I had no idea what that meant. But I knew it was kind of unruly and hard to manage compared to the other people I knew. And after I had my second son, my hair got so much curlier, especially in the back. The front changed, but the waves, I would say the front's wavy and the back is curly. And I didn't realize it had happened until we were in Kenya and we went to Mombasa, and Mombasa is a beach town, and beach towns tend to be really humid. And so I discovered that my hair was completely unmanageable. Like, it went from, I just always combed it. So my hair at that point, I just assumed it was straight and I would just comb it, and it didn't look great, but it wasn't awful. If you took a photo of me from the back, there'd be like not straight hair, but like straighter hair that looked like that, and then in between would be like hair that looked like that. And I didn't think anything of it. Like, it never occurred to me that my hair could be wavy or curly, because people just didn't talk about that. Why? I don't know. I'm really not sure what people's problem is with curly hair, but like, it was not a thing in the 2000s, 2010s. This was like 2010-ish that I realized that my hair was like unmanageable. Yeah, and so it was like going into the humidity that really did it. And when I got back, like it just didn't go back to normal, and I just couldn't figure it out. And I don't know what led me to like look into doing something about it. Maybe somebody said something to me, but eventually I started looking up the curly girl method and applying the principles to my hair and putting product in my hair, which I had never done before. I was always a wash and go kind of person, although I had stopped washing my hairs often because I was trying to do the no poo method, which never worked for me. Now I use clay to wash my hair, and that works beautifully. Well, at least for getting it clean. It feels very clean. Does it feel manageable? No. I actually have 2 different products in my hair right now. On this side I have one product, and on this side I have another because I'm testing. And I think that the camera that I'm looking at isn't dark. It's really bright, but for what you're seeing, it's a lot less bright, and so I don't think you can see what the difference is. But I'm testing these products and trying to find something that'll work for me because I just ended up putting in locks because I was like, I can't handle the amount of time that it takes to do my hair. I need something a little simpler because I ended up finding that the curly girl method worked for me, and I liked it, and I ended up liking my hair a lot. But it was too time consuming when you have 2 small, energetic boys. But I'd love to know if anybody out there has any advice on like what's worked for them. Like, what products have you tried? I've been putting in wavy hair, not because I think some of my hair is wavy, but mostly because a wavy hair just tends to be like softer. Or at least the people who are writing about having soft hair also seem to be having wavy hair, not curly. There are plenty of people with curly hair that's soft. I'm just saying, I've been thinking maybe the products that I'm using are too heavy. So I'm looking for lighter weight ones. Like gels. Okay. Greenish umber. I don't think there's any other brands I've seen this color. And I think that's a super cool. I don't really know what an umber is, but I always think of umbers as brown. Oh, it says it's granulating. But it doesn't tell us if it's transparent or not. And it's pretty light fast. And I don't think I've swatched this at all. Like, I don't think I've used it yet. Oh, look at that. I don't think it's separate. It's separated a tiny, tiny bit, but not much. Yay. Better than normal. I'm excited to see this color because it looked good on the package, but that doesn't mean that it'll. Yeah, it doesn't say if it's opaque or transparent. That is clearly opaque. So opaque. That one's kind of opaque. Oh, that has such a strong smell. I wonder if it's stronger when you first open the packages, because I wouldn't ever think to complain about the smell, but I remember when I first swatched them, and I don't know where the swatches are, which is why they're going in this book. When I first swatched them, it was like, whoa. Or maybe used them. Maybe I didn't swatch them. Maybe I just put them in this pan and then started using them. That might be why I can't find the swatches, because it never happened. Can I fit 3 here? Not well. I mean, I can fit it. I could also like fit half over here. I think I'm going to try to stick with this. Oh, one of them's white. Do we even need to swatch white? I don't know. Is there somewhere else? We can put the white up here. It doesn't need to be. Okay, so we'll just finish the 2 here, and then we'll do white up here. Perfect. We've got a solution. Do I want to do neutral tint or lamp black? Definitely neutral tint. Neutral tint, I love neutral tint in Winsor Newton, which is the other first brand that I ever used of watercolor. And it is definitely one of my favorites in that brand, but I don't know what it'll be like in this brand. Because it's a mixture of, oh, I need to write that down. It's a mixture of this, in this case, three different pigments. And so I don't know what it is in Winsor & Newton, but I've bought multiple. Just checking to see if it's a family member. It is not. That means we can wait to answer. Okay, I guess if it was an emergency and you're not a family member, call me. I'll answer if it's an emergency. What do other people do during live streams? If somebody texts them and it's an emergency. How do you get hold of people and let them know? Transparent / opaque. Well, that's contradictory. So which one is it? And the light fastness is NR, which we're going to have to look up because I still don't know. And then actual lamp black. And then we're almost done, which is good because I'm tired and I'm ready to not be doing this. It says it's granulating. That's not helpful to me. If I'm using black, I want it to be kind of like, I don't think I want granulation in my black. You guys out there, do you prefer granulating or non-granulating pigments? Ooh, very little separation. That's nice. I haven't tried this one yet. I've tried this one in the Sennelier. Sorry, in the Schminke. Did I get lamp black for Schminke? I think I did. But I haven't tried it. No separation at all. So the neutral tint, which I think I've used in this brand, had no separation. Very nice. Wow, that's pigmented. Wow. That is really like heavily pigmented. It's kind of purple to me. The reason why I always make sure I pull it out with the water is so that you can see the undertones. Which, by the way, I think undertones just mean the tone that you wouldn't notice in the main color. It isn't necessarily under anything. It's just in it and not obviously visible. These are such beautiful paints. It makes me want to start a new masterpiece. But honestly, I'm probably going to sit down with the iPad and see if I can figure out, oh my gosh, which one is it? Okay, I don't remember. That's how you know I'm getting tired. I don't remember which one I just touched. I'm going to try to see if I can figure this whole AI thing out. Or edit a video. And then for the white, might as well learn what color white's made out of. Oh, these are still not dry over here. I almost put my arm down on it. Wow. How can I do this without making a mess? Okay, we're gonna Chinese white. Okay. It says it's transparent, which if I'm using white, that might not be what I'm going for. PW4. And I'm just going to put this directly on the page. No, that's a bad idea. I haven't used this at all yet. Look at all that separation. Can you see that? It looks absolutely yellow on top. Oh, look, that's all that came out. Oh, gosh. Okay. I need the white pigment to come out. This is too difficult. Too much of a delicate color to like mess it up by doing anything but white. And let's draw a line so we can see how transparent it is. I'm gonna have to give that a minute to dry. The pen, I mean, not the paint. Well, I'm just about done here. I don't think anybody's still here, but if you are and you have any questions, now would be the moment to ask them. If you want to tell me what you think about the curlier method, if you want to tell me what you think about homeschooling or unschooling. It seems transparent enough. I mean opaque enough, but no, you can see the line through it. I guess it's pretty transparent. They were telling the truth. Yay, we finished all of them. How many paints do I have? Let's count them. Including the white, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21. Which I think about is like the average that I have in the different brands. I think it's unusual how few I have of the Schminke. And next time we will do another one of these. What is this? Color wheel. But we're going to be using a different system because I learned that I prefer a different system than the one I was using. So we'll be separating the colors out differently. So anyways, thanks so much for joining me today. Those of you, if there was anyone here, if there was any lurkers that didn't feel comfortable typing. Hello. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.